Nate G219 here. You know what it is. First of all, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Today, this is the second story for today. It is July 23rd, Sunday. Beautiful afternoon in Crossville, Tennessee. I'm on vacation. I feel it's well deserved. But yeah, hit that like, hit that subscribe, support the channel. I'm going to do a story about my boy Cleatus Furlong today. And I know I've brushed upon these stories a little bit, and I just haven't been able to hit home. For one, I haven't been able to find a picture up until very recently. And a friend of mine came through with every yearbook from middle school on. Happened to be the first yearbook I picked up. I found him, his picture, as you guys see in the thumbnail. That's Paul. That's the Paul that I know. That's the Paul that everybody that knew Paul knows. And the other picture you see is the man that got Paul to do something that could never be undone. And Paul regrets every second of it. But I mean, the kid was stuck in a very, very difficult situation. Paul had grown up being abused by his biological father. But still, Paul held such a nice, caring, gentle demeanor that I couldn't describe it. He was a nice kid. Like I told you guys in a previous story, my mom was a great judge of character, and my mom helped Paul get his license. Gave him the ability to use a car to get a license. That's really all. Now, Paul did have a stepdad and a mother that cared about him very much. I can't say the stepdad cared about him very much. The stepdad was more financially a financial parent than a father. So Paul never had a real father figure growing up, except for the one that beat him. His mom got him and his family out of there by the age of 10, and the mom remarried, and you know, the stepfather did provide financially a good life for them, but he never treated Paul like Paul was his son. He never treated the siblings the same. His kids, you knew his kids were loved much more. You know, Paul didn't have the option to go to college paid for, but his older stepbrother was definitely going to college. Paul felt left behind. Paul ended up getting kicked out of the house due to some disagreements between him and his stepfather, and the fact that he was 18, but he was still in school. Just a lot of disagreements. You had a 18-year-old kid that was an angry 18-year-old kid. He had no guidance from a father figure. He had a few friends. He had quite a few friends, but he never felt that he fit in. He always felt like he was the outcast. And, you know, my friends and I always were warm and welcoming to him, but he was a couple years younger than us, so we just weren't the same crowd. Paul was a wrestler, a great wrestler. He just a great kid, kind soul, and this idiot hands him a gun and devises this plan and a sex offender ends up concreted in a wall. So who's the worst one? Who's worse? The one that creates the plan, that supplies the weapons, that manipulates this young 18-year-old kid, lost kid, into doing his dirty work? Or is Paul the worst one? I personally feel that the one that devises the plan and manipulates the kid into doing some crap is the one that's the worst of the two. But no, TJ was quick to tell authorities. First, he felt that his conscience caught up to him, so he went to the cops and told them that, you know, Paul killed somebody, and that he tried to minimize his role, but detectives knew better. And it even says in the reports, you know, immediately they knew better. They knew that he had much more to do with it than he was saying. So we're currently trying to get Paul back into court because his lawyer was trying to get him to sign a plea agreement that was unconstitutional. And when you're at a young age and your life is on the line, you're going to listen to anybody that you feel has better advice or the correct advice. So you start listening to jailhouse lawyers and people that really portray the fact that they know the law. And what it was in his plea agreement, they were trying to get him to plead guilty to murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and theft. Okay, so the theft, okay, let's just throw that one out there. That one's in there. There's a theft in there. That was done. But murder and conspiracy to commit murder, you can't be convicted of both of them. It's double jeopardy. So, but this was in his plea agreement. His plea agreement said 55 years if you plead guilty to murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and theft. 55 years meant do 22 and a half, which would have put him home this year. So all he knew is that was double jeopardy because he was listening to jailhouse lawyers, and his counsel, Peter Boyles, which is very ineffective counsel. He's an ineffective human, if you ask me. Like I've said before, one of the worst in the county, if not the worst in the county. Every bad public pretender comes out of that office. They all work for the county, and I mean, that's what it is. They try to get people to sign plea agreements no matter what. They don't go for wins no matter how innocent or no matter how wrong it is. But Paul knew he had signed a unconstitutional plea agreement, and that he's being told that he should withdraw it, not by his attorneys. His attorneys never informed him that this is a minor clerical error that is not going to negatively impact you whatsoever. They didn't advise him of that. They didn't do anything like that. One withdrew. They had a special counsel, which is his prosecutor, I've told you, Gary Gurman. He withdrew due to personal reasons which he'd rather not reveal to the court. Conflict of interest that he'd rather not reveal to the court. And then the other one tried to withdraw, but Paul tried to fire him, but they wouldn't let him fire him, and instead it appointed Gary Gurman, which did nothing beneficial. All they had to do was inform him signing this plea agreement is good. By not signing the plea agreement, by withdrawing the plea agreement, he had signed it. He withdrew the plea agreement after finding out that it was unconstitutional. All Peter Boyles or Gary Gurman had to do was tell him that no matter what, even the double jeopardy law being in there, that this is a benefit, that they're letting him sign a plea agreement for 55 years, serving 22 and a half, as long as he doesn't go screw up his time, which he hasn't. They didn't tell him any of that. Instead, they let him withdraw his plea agreement and take it to trial. Boom, found guilty. Sentenced to 118 and a half years. But like I said, that conspiracy to commit murder and murder, you can't have both of them on the same body. He gave a bit of time back to Indiana, so he ended up with a 68-year sentence. 65 for murder, 3 for the theft. When if the lawyer would have told him, hey, this is a benefit, you should sign this, this is why, he would have never withdrew his plea agreement. He would have been home this year. But now we're fighting to try to get him some, he's filed for clemency with the governor. There's a few things that we're trying to do. And the last I reported about him, he was in the SHU, the secure housing unit. Well, and that was due to a family member working at the prison. He was just moved the other day. He was moved to Newcastle Penitentiary. And Newcastle is a priority sex offender camp. So it's a level 2 camp. There is a level 1 and a level 3. And there's also a lockup unit there. But he is now a level 2. I think it's like 80 to 90% of every level 2 inmate there is a sex offender. This man has fought his way without any trouble to get down to a level 2, and he's trying to do nothing but good. And it's like the state intentionally put him in this horrible situation. Now, I know 2 people stuck in these horrible situations that they just can't get out of. He's going to be in an open dorm, and there's going to be sex offenders running around rampant everywhere, because that's the prison that they go to. They assume that if you're in Newcastle that you're a sex offender. That's just assumed. So I just wanted to get that one out there, guys. Paul's such a great guy. He doesn't deserve to be shunned and thrown away like this. We need to help try to get this notified. I've written the Freedom Project. I haven't heard anything back, but hoping to. Anyways, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe, support the channel if you would like. I would love that, trying to get out there to see Ian Bick and try to grow this channel. Get the whole world watching some of these videos, man. People need to know some of the crap that goes on in the prisons, and some of the things that the state does to keep a person down that deserves to be free, and how they let the ones that deserve to be kept down, how they let them go out. And it's usually all about money. That's it. Having a paid lawyer instead of public pretender. That's usually what it is. But hey, guys, never forget life's choices, and you know if they ain't hating it, you ain't making it. I'm out.